Welcome to the How to Heal podcast, the show where we explore real life stories and practical tools to thrive. I'm your host, Lindsay Trimarchi Richter, and through over a 15-year journey of all things healing, I'm here to hook it up. If you're feeling overwhelmed, looking for a deeper connection, or straight up in a psycho-spiritual crisis, I got you covered. Let's unearth your unique elixir to purpose, peace, and progress. Here we go. Welcome to the How to Heal podcast. My name is Lindsay. I'm so glad that you're here. Today, we're talking about a lesson that I have learned on my yoga mat, and that is all around spaciousness and how creating spaciousness really is going to allow you to create magnetism in your life. And the ability to remain spacious is a direct reflection of how emotionally aware you are and how much emotional safety you can hold for yourself. So I want to go into a physical modality of yoga so I can give you like an example, a real life example, so you can frame yourself through the energetic component of spaciousness. It is creating the space so that you can witness what your next, I don't want to say level because it sounds so coachy, but it is like where can you move next? Where can you move next? Okay, now I created this space. Which door will I open next? And sometimes it's not about opening the next door. Sometimes just like hanging out in the room that you just opened long enough to feel that capacity, that groundedness, that strength to say, oh, I thought I wanted to open this door, but actually I want to open this door. And what this looks like in real life is called like regulating your nervous system. Having the thought come in and then witnessing the judgment of the thought and suspending and releasing from that judgment. It's having a feeling, breathing into it, and dissolving the feeling. Neutralizing the feeling. That creates the spaciousness. It is allowing the space to grow in between stimulus and reaction. Between the idea and the motion of the contraction and the expansion. It is suspending, creating that space in between the stimulus and the reaction. The observation becomes more keen. You become more savvy in that observation when you fully integrate into a breath of awareness. So I'm experiencing pain. I'm going to observe without attaching any thoughts onto that pain. I'm going to observe the pain without judging the pain. I'm going to say, it's okay. This is literally what I need to feel right now. I have time. I have time to feel this. It's the anti-knee-jerk reaction. I have seen so many women who knee-jerk reaction say, oh, I need to do something, so let's do it right now. But from the knee-jerk reaction, you need to completely reacclimate to where you would normally have been by just the thought coming in. So how do you want to move towards the action? What do you want to feel? It's not coming from stress. It's not coming from pressure. It's not coming from I need to be this. It's coming from self-love. It's coming from compassion. It's coming from I worked so hard to get here. Now I'm here and I'm giving myself time. So when we come back to our breath, we can really use the breath as a tool to notice like like what the reaction is actually going on in our body. And sometimes it's not so deep where it's like a like, let's push through this. A lot of times it's just, hey, let's neutralize this right now. Let's get back to homeostasis. A lot of the deeper work that I've seen on the yoga mat, that spaciousness that I'm talking about, happens when we're in a place where we are grounded in intention to be growing. And on an everyday level, you're not like this, energetic alchemist where you're like making serious growth moves and healing. It's more of like let's be aware of where our homeostasis is so we can access that, so that we can be regulating our nervous system. So the interesting thing about creating spaciousness is that we can, let me just get you to this point so that you understand where we're going in this train of thought. Spaciousness lends to emotional capacity, which lends to energetic expansiveness, right? So when we are able to hold the energy of, I'm really freaking out right now, I'm constricting, I'm making myself small, and witness that in a detached way and say, okay, like these emotions are coming in, these are the stories that I'm telling myself I can't do, and we neutralize that and we diffuse that, we create way for a bigger capacity to hold more energy. And that is essentially what manifestation is. I want to talk about To Be Magnetic. The founder of To Be Magnetic talks about expanders. And an expander is a person that comes into your life that you see has what you want, or at least part of it. And you're able to identify with this emotion of, or a thought of, if she's able to do that, I feel like I can do that in this way. And you create this resonance with that frequency that person has of what you want. And that expands more. That creates more spaciousness. That's why they call it an expander. That expands your capacity for your belief of what you can achieve. So on a very minute level, when you're creating that spaciousness for yourself on your yoga mat or wherever, you're really just filling your well of what the possibility is for you to hold a vision that is greater than where you currently are. I was introduced to this concept through yoga, as I mentioned. In college, my sorority sister, who has been my best friend, she was a TA for a class called Yoga for Actors and Dancers. And she's like, come take the class. It'll be like an easy A. And I loved it. I loved the class and it's so cool. So I was like, amazing. I got there and the teacher was this like tall, lengthy, theatrical woman who was so serious about yoga. It was like really my first adult experience of yoga where I was like, this is a serious endeavor. And what the class required us to do was go into a posture, like say ragdoll, and sit in it for like 3 to 5 minutes. And then in the middle of it, journal where we felt the stretching, where we felt the contracting, where we felt the movement. Okay, after this amount of time, then I felt I could breathe and then I got a little bit more length, and understanding that spaciousness on that physical level. And it really taught me how to do yoga, because I think a lot of people go into yoga and they're like competitive and they're like, I'm going to get into this pose. And it's like, actually, that's not what yoga is about. Yoga is about recognizing the long-term sustainable strength and length you create in your body over a period of time, and the inner voice that happens along the way. That's what yoga is about. And it really provided me somatic literacy over my body and what I knew felt good and what didn't feel good. And when we witness that breath as information, like, for example, I was in yoga class this last week and I did a spinal twist, and I could feel myself breathing short, shallow breaths. And I'm like, okay, there's my spaciousness opportunity. I'm just breathing into it right now. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't need to know what's going on, but I need to witness the feeling that is causing me to breathe that way and take control over it and slow it down. It's not a failure, it's an opportunity. And again, this is essentially nervous system regulation. This is your ability to create slow, intentional movement, slow, intentional response to stimulus. The cool, like, I don't know, superhero, he's not cool when he's like, blah, blah. He's cool because he's like, just bam, bam, bam. He's cool, calm, and collected, but he's making moves. That's what you want to achieve in your body, in your minds, somatically. The urgency is not helping you. The urgency is not helping you. It is the known experience of, I got this, I'm aware, I'm sensing, and I'm responding mindfully. We can't knee-jerk our expansiveness and spaciousness. That is like falling on the opposite side of the pendulum. Then we need time to come back, relax, and then we can neutralize. So whenever you feel that knee-jerk reaction to, I need to heal, or I need to fix, or I need to rest, you have to pay attention to where that knee-jerk reaction is coming from, and you have to be kind to yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. That knee-jerk reaction is coming from past learned experience of do this, do this, do this. And we're adults now, so we can care for ourselves in a more kind and compassionate way. There will always be a reaction to something that happens to a stimulus, but the goal is to, again, soften, slow down, and become less consuming of things and more integrating of things. I listened to something yesterday that was really cool. It was like, by 1 o'clock, you should have done everything that the most important things that you need to do must get done before 1 o'clock. Another example of this topic was like 10 by 10 rule, which is like 10 prospect calls by 10 o'clock, and giving yourself these finite limits of, this is the non-negotiable focus and strategy of what I'm trying to do, and it has to happen before this time. This morning, and I've been in the habit of waking up, checking my Oura Ring sleep score, and then I hate to say it, getting on Instagram, because my Instagram is like curated to a point where I don't feel, it doesn't really make me angry, but what it is targeting me to purchase things or click on things, and that's not my energy. That is not that's someone else's prerogative. So this morning I fell into this trap of going down this rabbit hole of consuming something that really threw my morning off, to the point where I was just like, not okay. So what did I do? I listened to some mindset work of somebody that I really trusted, and I started doing what I needed to do immediately upon dropping my daughter off at school. And am I perfect today at it? No, I'm not. Like, I do not feel on my game, but I know that going forward, I can check my sleep score, but I'm going to look into timeframes of when I can restrict certain apps, because I do not want to look at Instagram for pleasure until 1 p.m., until I'm done with the hard lifting, with the heavy lifting. That is me looking at Instagram is consuming, thinking that it's going to give me more insight on what I should be doing, when I really should just be being and operating from that place, if that makes sense. I'm reading this book called Patriarchy Stress Disorder. which talks about how women have been conditioned to overfunction, to create urgency in their life, to override their pleasure, and how it's like very deeply rooted in our culture, because at the root of everything, our bodies remember everything, but our minds rationalize that knowing into making ourselves wrong for wanting certain things or feeling certain ways. So when you create the spaciousness, you start to become more in touch with your body and really allow yourself to feel the desires that you want to feel. Understanding what pleasure means for you, not rushing. So we build a practice of creating spaciousness. It's not necessarily passive. It's an active space of I'm witnessing, I'm aware, and I'm building towards something more. And that's where like an interesting paradox of being and doing. There's a dance of being and doing, but we actually want to do being better. Which is just so funny. This is where we're at, but it's relational to yourself. Where's your body? Where's your breath? How's your nervous system doing? Where are your thoughts taking you? What are you feeling? Where am I pushing myself in a direction that doesn't feel good? Where am I pushing myself towards that I always have because I think that this is what I should be doing and that I've always doing? And maybe you keep doing that same thing, but it's just not working anymore. This is the opportunity. What is bringing me pleasure? What feels really good in my body? And we need that space to allow ourselves that freedom and that independence to say, I actually don't like that. So if yoga isn't your thing, get your journal out and start to brain dump what doesn't feel good in your life and watch your body react to it. Maybe you're stone cold callous to it. Maybe you believe these things to be true. And this is an exercise for you to really challenge what you believe on a deep level that isn't supporting your happiness, your higher ambitions, your goals, your opportunities, your magnetism. Where have you created stories that make you small? Breathe into them, have compassion for them, and know that you're working towards a more expansive, magnetic state for yourself. I love you.